Hello everyone. Welcome to the August online chapter meeting of the Building Designers Association of Australia. It's great to have everyone with us. The attendance for online meetings is fantastic. We've got lots to talk about today. Welcome to our industry partners, James Hardy and ITI. We're looking forward to today's presentations. For those of you joining us for the first time, my name is Jennifer Binns. I'm a building designer in Tasmania. I'm hosting the online chapter meetings and Sarah Jane is in the background managing the technology. Please use the chat box to introduce yourselves. Let us know where you're logging in from. I'm enjoying feeling connected to interstate designers through these meetings, and I hope you are too. Sarah Jane is going to put a poll up on the screen because we're interested in where everyone's coming from. So if you can submit the state you work from and we'll get a picture of where you all are. Have you got that poll? There we are. While we're waiting for those results, our thoughts are with our Victorian colleagues. The first time around, we were all facing the same business restrictions from the COVID situation. Now there's a wider discrepancy between states and particular challenges facing Victorians. We are still all in this together and support is extended to anyone experiencing difficulties. Right. Sorry, Sarah Jane, can you put those results back up on the screen? Right, overwhelming majority of designers from New South Wales and a smattering from everywhere else. That's great. Welcome, everyone. Right, before we get started with presentations, I want to tell you about a few CPD events that are happening and coming up through the Building Designers Association. The Victorian online chapter meeting is taking place this Thursday at 1 p.m. They will be discussing topics that are specific to Victoria. Lifesite is launching their custom flow range, which is only available in Victoria. And Web Insurance will be discussing risk management for your design business. For all designers, Brickworks are running two events. The first is a non-combustible facade event on August 11th, and the other is a brick design and detailing event on August 25th. PT Doors will be presenting how to specify garage doors correctly. The garage door opening is the largest moving part in a home, so it is essential that it be specified, installed and maintained properly. So that's one to get on and have a look at. Web Insurance will be holding its first ever copyright event on Wednesday, the 26th of August at 1 p.m. They will be going in depth into how to copyright your designs, and they will have a legal co-presenter to answer any legal queries. As a professional, you are responsible to understand and avoid breaching copyright laws, and you can find out what copyright means in your business and examine actual case studies to see the impacts and outcomes. We're adding CPD events regularly, so ensure you're signed up to CPD for building designers and stay up to date with the latest education. There's lots of interesting and useful events running. So Sarah Jane is posting some links there in the chat box. Crossing the Threshold to Accessible Housing is currently running as we speak and was a sold out event. It will be running again and Sarah Jane will be setting up a waiting list. So if you're interested in going on the wait list, send an email to media@bdaa.com.au and you'll be notified of the next event and given first offer of refusal to attend. The members only section of the BDAA website is now up and running. Sarah Jane can offer assistance if needed. You log on with the email you used when you registered with the BDAA. If you've forgotten your password, it can be reset and an auto response will be sent to the registered email with instructions. So hop on and have a look at what's on the website. If you're not a member of the BDAA and are considering joining, Sarah Jane will post the link in the chat box. There's lots of information coming through there. Lastly, the National Conference is going ahead in November as an online event. What has been planned so far sounds amazing and it will be held over 3 half days. The agenda is being finalised, but there is still room if you would like to be a presenter or if you've got an idea for a keynote speaker. So please get in touch with Adam Hobel by email. And Sarah Jane can post his email address in the chat box as well. So that's it for the BDAA updates. A quick run through of the Zoom tools, though I'm sure you're all getting very familiar with them. As attendees, you don't have active video and you've been muted just to reduce background noise, but you are very much part of this meeting. So please ask questions. Our industry partners are here to answer questions and please feel free to ask anything building design related. If the panel can't answer your question, we'll get back to you. The Q&A box is at the bottom of the screen. That will open up the question and answer screen. You'll see questions coming in and you can type your questions at any time during the meeting. There are also opportunities to ask questions by audio by using the raise your hand icon. If you raise your hand, we'll unmute you and we just ask that you check there's no background noise that will interfere with the audio. The chat box is there as a continuous message thread. So today we have two presentations from James Hardy and ITI, which will run for around 20 minutes each with time for questions. At the end of the meeting, there will be a QR code on the screen for your CPD point, and we'll wrap up the formal part of the meeting at 2 p.m. for those that have to leave, but we can keep the meeting open for a little while to keep answering questions. So our first presentation is from James Hardy with a presentation on rethinking fibre cement in your building design. I'm going to hand over to James Newman, who's the Medium Density Segment Manager for New South Wales and ACT, and he's joined by Josiah McCready, who is the Hunter and Central Coast Territory Manager. Welcome, James. Have we got you online?
Yes. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. You do.
Welcome. I'm going to hand over to you.
Thanks. So I'm just going to share my screen now, just so that we can get our presentation up here as well. And welcome everyone, and thank you for your time today. As Jennifer mentioned, my name is James Newman and my colleague Josiah McCready, both based in New South Wales, both worked in the industry for quite some time. But as mentioned, I look after the medium density segment across New South Wales and the ACT. And we hope today that we share with you not only some valuable information about rethinking your fibre cement design, but also some information about the industry and how rethinking those designs is obviously going to impact yourself and the work that you do into the future as well. So a little bit about the industry and about Australia and New South Wales at the moment. For those of you who may not know, when looking at population growth here in New South Wales, but also in Australia, it's projected to grow exponentially over the next 15 to 30 years. In New South Wales alone, we're expected to see around 2.7 million more people into New South Wales, and in Australia up until 2036. Depending on which projection the ABS wanted you to have a look at, we could see anywhere from Australia's population reaching as high as 44 million people. With that, we're seeing obviously a change in the way people expect and want to have their homes designed and built. And obviously that's being driven by a large amount of overseas migration. Not only are we seeing that overseas migration having a large impact into the Australian economy and the population itself, we're also seeing a change in demographics across Australia as well. Household growth by the end of 2020 is we're seeing more and more millennials who are now becoming those key market influencers and people that are driving the changes to the market. In addition to that, we're obviously also seeing the change to baby boomers as well, who are now either downsizing or wanting to look at opportunities to be able to move closer to family, and whether that's retirement living, whether that's simply finding the opportunity to get a smaller home but put them closer to their children, their grandchildren, and possibly great-grandchildren. We're starting to see this change across Australia, not just in New South Wales, but across Australia, as our demographics obviously change. One of the interesting things about millennials, when we start to have a look at their driver, a lot of them are looking to stay closer to their friends, closer to the areas that they've grown up in. Whereas for many of us that have, in our 40s and older, where we've been looking to move to somewhere where we can afford or have land, there are other things now that are driving decisions, particularly in the younger age groups, as they look to move into their first homes and as they look to move into the property market themselves. Now, whilst we see these age groups influencing design, and we see them influencing the housing market itself, we also know that compliance is obviously becoming a bigger and bigger challenge within the industry as a whole. From facade design and protection from the elements, each state is seeing the challenges and the difficulties that come from the changes within the NCC, out of cycle changes, and obviously everything that's come on in the last 10 years or so from the impacts of the issues such as Grenfell, the Marina Torch Tower over in Dubai, and obviously closer to home when we look at the Docklands and apartment fires. Whilst those have primarily happened in apartment complexes, we have seen a massive impact into the way that the building industry obviously is now looking at compliance and performance of buildings, from detached homes and granny flats all the way up to high-rise multi-storey residential and commercial buildings. So we share that information with you as a bit of a precursor today to follow on with a little bit about what James Hardie are doing and how we're dealing with those challenges that are presented into the marketplace. So we've spent over the last few years, and it's now pushing closer to over $2 million to get to understand what the market is doing from consumers all the way through to professionals, and understanding what it is that they want and what they need. And as you can see here, we're pushing well over 20,000 people now that we've actually sourced and sought research information from to really understand the trends that are happening. And the reason we share this information with you is it's important to understand that whilst James Hardie sell fibre cement product, we're not just about putting board on the wall. We're about understanding the changes that happen in the industry. And that's obviously changes that impact yourself as building designers, and also about working with you to understand and meet the trends and the needs of those who you're obviously going to be designing and helping to build homes for. Now, some of the challenges further to this that we've seen throughout Australia is over the past 10 years, lot sizes in our state capitals have reduced by as much as 26%. For those of you that are in New South Wales, you know that in the last few years, the New South Wales state government authorised the selling of 250 square metre blocks of land to be able to build and develop homes on. Now that obviously presents massive challenges, not only for finding a home that meets requirement for clients, but obviously also the issues and challenges of having homes literally built one on top of each other. Further to that, we also know that there's a lot of time and energy that goes into building a home from design and concept stage all the way to actual material. Interestingly of use is in Australia last year, in 2016, it was estimated that around 3.74 million cubic tonnes of building material ended up in landfill. And as you can see there, the dollar figure tells that's approximately $2.8 billion per annum in material that's purchased, used, and or discarded of in a building process, quite a substantial amount. And so when we think about how we can build better, how we can build smarter, how we can build more time efficiently and cost efficiently, these are the types of things that we've taken the time and looked at research to understand how we can do that. So further to this, when we think about smarter building design, we've started to see information that's shown to us when we look at the overall cost and impact to a build, that when you look at the cost of dumping fees, the cost of material, and then the handling of product, ultimately per dwelling, there are potentials and opportunities out there when building smarter, where you can save up to just over $12,500 per dwelling. And that's based on a 150 square metre block or 150 square metre dwelling. So quite a substantial amount of opportunity out there when thinking about how to build smarter and actually be able to save not only the end user money, but also the builder as well. And as you know, if many of you have ever worked with any builder, anytime you can put money back in their own pocket, they're going to be happy and they're going to love you for being able to save them money. Now, as we look in further to this information, what we're starting to see though, whilst we want to challenge and deal with the issues of reduced block sizes, cost of builds going up, labour costs and challenges that we face, we also deal with the expectations of consumers. Now, when we revert back to that discussion before, or the slide before around millennials, there are very much raised expectations around what people's dream homes should look like. And that's driven by things such as Pinterest and other services that are out there that are impacting what people want to see their home look like. Interestingly enough, 1 in 2 home buyers love the look of the house they've just built. It's kind of scary to think that only 50% of people have spent a substantial amount of money and will over the life of their mortgage, and only half of them actually love the look of the house that they've built. Now, challenging further to that as well, what we're also seeing is whilst they might not love the look of they're still expecting the same functionality, which again puts pressure on us as builders and building designers and people involved in the industry to allow people to be able to still get what they want. They may not get everything that they want, but they still want functionality. So how does this impact you as building designers when it comes to working with new product? Well, we live in a world of innovation and adaptation, and we all know that if we don't adapt, ultimately we'll end up on the scrap heap, and Kodak is a perfect example of that. For those of you who may not know, Kodak developed the digital camera way back in 1978, and they decided not to go ahead with it because they thought nobody would ever use a digital camera. And we now know what's happened to Kodak. They basically are non-existent except in the movie industry. And we've seen other industries where change has driven or innovation has driven change in how people operate. And we see that in the building industry as well. Again, we know the challenges that you face around Australian standards, around the NCC, and the constant changes that we're feeling and seeing in the building industry. And this is where we as James Hardie want to be able to work with you as building designers, not just simply to say, here's our product, please put it on the wall, but how you can be the most effective and efficient when dealing with the NCC and the code requirements to ensure that your building meets code, but also achieves what your client ultimately wants. Now, what we've also seen over the last little while is that people are starting to lose a bit of faith within the building industry. We know that people deserve to feel safe in their homes, and they want to feel safe in their homes. Interestingly, in 2019, Deakin University did a study where they found that of all defects relating to the building fabric and cladding, 1/3 of those major defects came from water penetration or moisture getting into a building. Now, for us building designers, you all know this, so I won't go through this in too much information. We know what causes condensation within a home. We know what causes condensation out of a home. Scarily, but also interestingly, the average household can produce up to 12 litres of water vapour per day. And so in our smart building designs, we need to think about how we manage that. The consequences of not managing condensation are obviously fairly severe. We can see impacts to structural issues within the build. We've also seen impacts of challenges to the outside, whether that's the facade and cladding material or other products, but also visual. Obviously, we want people to be able to come home and look at their home and still look at it and love it, be able to enjoy the home that they've built and obviously spent a lot of money on. Further to this and further to the dangers of poor moisture management, not only do we see the impacts on the image on the left-hand side, but obviously we see the potential issues around mold and health, sick building syndrome in multi-storey residential apartments, or even just general mold growth in a residential home can obviously have serious health impacts, but also obviously impacts the durable and stability, or the duration of and the stability of any home. And the last thing somebody wants to do is obviously manage potential structural issues on a home that they've just built. So we've seen out in the marketplace, there are plenty of things that are out there that are currently being used. We know that sarking is a suitable application up to a certain level, pending on things such as wind loads, but also pending on those that are working on site. Sarking does have a tendency to rip if it's not taken care of, or if somebody's careless in their work. And if somebody clads over or doesn't look and be mindful of their surroundings, you potentially have impacts of where sarking's torn, and then water obviously gets in, and we know the challenge that causes. If you're working in high-rise or you're working in multi-storey residential buildings or even commercial, metal backpanning also is another issue, but also things such as non-breathable sarkings. These kinds of products obviously trap water, and we know that trapping water and not getting it out of a building envelope obviously can lead to issues such as mold growth. Now, when we talk about spending money on understanding the marketplace, James Hardie also is dedicated to improving the way Australians build and the way that you as designers design your builds. And that leads us to one of the first products we wanted to share with you today. So many of you may have heard about this product. If you haven't, rigid air barrier, James Hardie were really inventive when it came to the acronym for this product. RAB board, as we've referred to it, has been specifically designed to provide a unique solution to any build. Now, whilst RAB board has been primarily designed to help manage moisture and wick moisture away as a breathable fibre cement product, it's also something that can be added into managing the structural rigidity of your building, which is obviously something that you can look at as an alternate replacement to brace board or other products, but also get the added features of a breathable fibre cement product. Now, I know that sounds a bit weird to a lot of people, breathable fibre cement, but let me share with you the technology and a little bit about how RAB's been developed. It was specifically developed originally for dealing with the New Zealand marketplace, so high winds, high water content, and obviously dealing with pressures and dealing with those high wind loads. Core Shield, as we refer to it, similarly operates like Gore-Tex, if you're familiar with that in a clothing brand, to be able to stop moisture getting in, whilst also being able to allow moisture in its vapor format to be able to escape out from the interior of the building. RAB board has a unique feature as well, that it can actually be put in behind any facade material. It doesn't have to be applied in behind James Hardie's facade and cladding material, but allows you to actually be able to leave it fully exposed for up to 180 days prior to facade and cladding material needing to be applied over the face of the rigid air barrier itself. So we talked to people a little bit about how to choose the difference between RAB and RAP, because we appreciate that RAP is a viable solution depending on your building requirements. If you've got high wind pressures, if your building has an air tightness or an energy efficiency requirement, or you've chosen to use an open rain screen or ventilated facade system, RAB is a fantastic solution to help you be able to manage moisture. Or alternately, if you're running a sealed facade system, or an alternate system over the top of something like RAB, over your building, something like Hardie Wrap is a suitable solution. But as we mentioned, it is suitable with all rain screen systems. I won't spend too much time on the next couple of slides. It's a really simple, easy to install process. Score and snap the boards or cut them to size, screw them to the frame, and then tape over the vertical joints. And then there are some other detailing, but we're always happy to answer questions. So if you do have questions or information where you find or info that you need to know about RAB, we're always happy to answer those questions and share those with you after the presentation today. So as we mentioned, when you talk about elements of a complete facade system, this is one of the unique things that James Hardie can provide. From internal linings all the way to your external facade and cladding material, we have code mark certified solutions and systems where we can work with you in your building design to find the suitable product for you. Now, as part of that system and as part of the information that we have around our commercial and high-rise medium density projects, the next product we share with you is an adaptation of our Exotec system, and this is our pre-finished Exotec Vero board. Now, I won't spend too much time on Exotec Vero. We appreciate that this is quite a unique product, often for people that are looking for unique solutions or that raw concrete look. Exotec provides you with the ability to be able to get that raw concrete look, but still be able to build in lightweight systems. It is pre-finished and comes to site pre-finished, and it is also embedded with the same technology as what our RAB board is, that Core Shield technology. And as you'll see on that image on the bottom right-hand side, the water beads up instantly off the board and will run straight down the face. Exotec Vero is a fantastic looking product, and we do have some projects where it has already been installed and applied, which we'd be happy to share information with and give you the chance to be able to have a look and be able to head out and attend. Pardon me. Oops. The next challenge we know that yourselves as building designers are challenged with and face is achieving a render look. And we know that that can pose particular challenges, as many of you are aware of. Now, in November last year, James Hardie launched a new product that we call EasyTex. So if many of you are familiar with EasyLap, EasyTex is an evolution of that product and an innovation that we've developed to be able to allow you to still achieve a render look without the need of having to use wet trades, without the need of having to render your building, but still get that nice aesthetically pleasing look that render provides. So EasyTex is a durable 8mm fibre cement product. And as you can see here, some subtle information relating to our design. You'll see this subtle V groove as part of our shiplap joint that allows you to be able to install the boards and get away from having to have those challenges with render where you're concerned about cracking or the management of the movement on the render itself. So EasyTex itself has been specifically designed to take away the challenge that a lot of designers found, but also builders found when installing something like EasyLap, where you may have somebody putting something like a flat paint as opposed to the required texture paint over there. So EasyText comes out to site with that nice, smooth, consistent feel and allows you to be able to get that nice, consistent rendered look with that subtle V-groove, which is actually quite a nice look when you consider on the design. You can work that in with your windows or other areas within the design itself as well. Now, EasyText is a fast and easy install product and gives you a much faster installation solution when you compare it to things such as rendered brick or rendered foam. The studies that have been done are based on those that we've worked with externally in the management of the installation. And the nice thing about EasyText too, for you as building designers, is you can actually have EasyText gun nailed straight onto a timber frame. You can either go straight onto the stud or alternately you can batten out. And even with a simple brad nail installation, once you've painted over the EasyText, you won't actually even see the brad nail. It's quite a unique and fantastic look when you've actually put this on the wall. Now, this is a project down in Melbourne that has used EasyText. So all in and around the second level, there is a large volume of EasyText. And for those of you that are based in Sydney and Canberra, we have quite a few projects now where EasyText is being installed on projects, and we're happy to share with you those details to give you a chance to be able to have a look at those. For those of you that may be in either Queensland, WA or SA, please let us know. We're always happy to reach out to our counterparts in those states and get them to share with you projects where EasyText is being installed. So compared to other render systems, we know that EasyText is fast and cost effective. And as you look at this information here, when we share this with you, we know that this, the information we present with you really gives quite a succinct but also powerful piece of information for you to be able to understand the benefit that EasyText really provides. We know the challenge with renders often is the limitation of colours that you can use. Obviously with the management of heat and then the cracking that can potentially occur, something that EasyText takes away. It allows you to paint from blacks to greens to purples to blues to anything under the sun to be able to allow you to get that look that you want. Obviously, as a James Hardie fibre cement product, it is deemed to satisfy non-combustible, and we know that the speed that this product can be installed can save time and valuable costs on a project. I'll share with you an example of a project that I've worked on just down in Canberra. We've had a particular builder, 24 townhouses and 14 apartment buildings. They've saved 4 months off their scheduled completion time, and they've come back to us and said that was mainly driven by the speed with which they were able to install EasyText on this project. So quite a phenomenal time saving that they were able to find simply by finding a unique product that met their design requirement, but also was able to help them save time on their build as well. So I have just a minute or two left, so I'm just going to go through these very quickly for you, the last couple of slides. One of the things we know with James Hardie's building systems is that we can actually help you save space and find room in your builds. So using our Skyon range of products, if you're looking to find space, one of the things that we will work with you about is using our engineering solutions teams to be able to find the maximum efficiencies on the builds that you have. So I will just skip to the last couple of slides because I appreciate we're right on time here for you. One of the things we do want to share with you as building designers is the unique services that we provide through our My Hardie system. This includes CAD and BIM libraries, tool and technical supplements and installation guides. This is a free service and we're happy to share all the information of how you can sign up and log on with using the My Hardie's platform. So obviously just due to time, I will just skip to the last slide with Josiah's and my contact details. We would encourage you to please take down our email addresses. We are more than happy to assist you wherever we can. I did notice I have just got a typo on my email address. It is only 1A in James Hardie, but please don't hesitate to reach out to us. As a business, we're always happy to help you wherever we can in your building design. So I appreciate your time and thank you. And I'll hand back over to Jennifer.
Oops, I had to unmute myself. Thank you very much, James. That was great. I might actually, if you can stay on the line just for a minute, James and Josiah, there's possibly some more questions still coming through, but we will have to move on to our next presentation, which is from ITI, who are presenting FlameFix. This is the world's first treated impregnated radiata pine product, which exceeds BAL 29 rating and also meets hazard level 3 durability, which is making it a very useful product. So joining us today is Ron Moon, who is the Managing Director of Wood Modifications Technologies and inventor of FlameFix. ITI are the largest independent distributor of timber products in Australia, and they deliver to all corners of the country. So also joining us today are Matt Tojic, who is the National Category Manager, Dane Cairns, who's the National Product Manager, and Craig David, the Director of Wood Modifications Technologies and the New South Wales State Manager of ITI Australia. So enough from me. I'm going to hand over to Ron and team. Are you online, Ron? We got you there? Hello, Ron. Can you hear me, Ron?
Jen, let me just try Ron on a different profile. He's
okay.
Twice. I'll just be one moment, everyone.
No worries. So while we're just waiting for the next presentation to start, if anyone's got any questions that they want to follow on from the previous presentation, please ask away. There are questions coming through both in the chat board and on the Q&A box. It's probably, they may have a tendency to get a bit more lost in the chat board, so probably ask questions in the Q&A box. And I believe that we can all contribute answers. So if there's any other information that you want to contribute to questions that are coming in, that would be, I think, a benefit to everybody. So there's some questions coming in there. Is there anything that anyone wants to ask online?
Okay, Jennifer.
Hi, Ron, got you?
Yep, that's good, you've got me. Part of our presentation, the first bit is a video. So if you just run that video, it's only a 4-minute video, that would be good. So if we can
sure. Okay, I'm going to hand over to you then.
Thank you.
We are all familiar with the devastating effects of bushfires in Australia and wildfires in other countries. Global warming increases the risks that bushfires pose to people and the places they live and work in. What if there were a product that made pine flame resistant? The good news, now there is. Introducing FlameFix DFX, the first combined wood preservative and flame retardant treated wood product that meets hazard classes H3 and the Australian standard AS 3959 BAL 29. Wood Modification Technologies, in partnership with ITI, have developed and patented FlameFix globally. FlameFix is now available in Australia. How does the technology actually work? Let's take a look. Starting with the impregnation process. First, the wood is transferred into the treatment vessel.
Ron, should there be any audio happening with this video? I don't think we can actually hear that at the moment.
Yeah.
Ron, no one can hear any audio of that particular video. You may need to talk us through that. Ron, can you hear me? Ron, we couldn't hear any of that particular presentation. Would you just like to talk us through your product? Ron, you don't seem to have your audio connected. Matt or Dane, are you available to assist with Ron's presentation? I'm sorry, everyone. We're having problems with the audio at the moment. Ron, have you got your microphone working now?
Is that better?
Yes, it is. Yes, sorry, we didn't hear any of that video, so you will need to just give us a quick wrap up and a snapshot of what we're looking at today.
Yep, that's okay. Let's get the video. Here's the PowerPoint. Okay, we'll go straight into the PowerPoint. Well, sorry about that first. That's a bit disappointing. We didn't get the video. However, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ron Moon. I've worked in the industrial chemical field in Australia and New Zealand for over 20 years, and I've been involved in the wood preservation industry. I have a master's degree in chemistry, diploma in business administration, and a great passion for geology. In this presentation, I've discussed several key features of FlameFix, which is our new product, and some of the science behind the product, and also the benefits of using it in construction and bushfire-prone areas. FlameFix is an innovative product. It is a combined H3 wood preservative plus a flame retardant that meets the Australian standard 3959 BAL 29. In the treatment process, which you didn't see, what it does, it takes wood, it enters it into the treatment plant, and it goes through a pressure vacuum process to produce FlameFix, an impregnated timber. FlameFix demonstrates compliance in terms of penetration, retention for both the wood preservative and the flame retardant. FlameFix, the product, minimizes smoke. As you know, smoke inhalation is a critical factor in determining human safety. And fourthly, we show in FlameFix, we also show the product availability and safe uses in high contact areas. I'd like to tell you about the development of FlameFix. Wood Modification Technologies and ITI Australia collaborated in the vision to create the world's first timber product combining H3 wood preservative and the flame retardant that meets BAL 29. Many academic papers have been put out by the Australian Forest and Wood Products of Australia and also the Timber Development Association, and have shown no commercially available combined flame retardant and preservative system for use in exterior timber that meets both the fire and durability standards. In fact, it is said in some of the reports that it is beyond the industry. What was classed as the holy grail of wood protection needed someone to believe that it could be achieved, given the time, resources, and funds. And that's how and why wood modification was formed. It took 6 years of intensive R&D to deliver FlameFix DFX. Also, what we wanted to do was to do all the testing, the technology, and the intellectual product in this part of the world. So all testing. The patents would become our second largest cost component. And what they say, to obtain a patent, you need to be able to defend it. Oh, so true. We established global patents in Australia, New Zealand, China, Chile, the USA. This would ensure all wood processing and value creation is done locally and not shipped offshore. We needed a wood resource to be locally sourced from a sustainable and a renewable timber. That timber was pine. Flame fix technology. The flame fix technology is called DFX. D for durable, FX for flame retardant. Why had no one else developed or combined a flame retardant and a wood preservative system for outdoor use? Well, the chemical, technical, and engineering challenges were many and complex, including the first obstacle was stability. Having an H3 and a flame retardant solution. There were very few compatible solutions that achieved this. There were issues in terms of pH, viscosity, the particle size to go into the wood cell, and the ability to co-penetrate into the wood substrate. The second was the fixation process, to fix all of the chemical actives into the wood substrate. Flame retardants, there is 90% plus which are water soluble. This was a major challenge to find a highly insoluble flame retardant. Part of the brand's testing is an accelerated weathering test. It takes 2 months, which eliminates any water soluble flame retardants. The third and the most complex stage is the flame retardant must meet AS 3959, construction of buildings in bushfire prone areas, for BAL 29. There are 6 different flame retardant mechanisms that will deliver different test results on combustion. Flame Fix achieved 3 fire test certificates from brands for various board thicknesses. The plant and equipment required to produce Flame Fix. Flame Fix can be used in existing wood processing plant, which includes drying kilns, treatment plant, conveyor systems, stress graders, etc., although some modifications are required. Flame Fix, in terms of the plant and equipment, is relatively low in capital cost compared to other wood modified plants, where the capital costs can run into many tens of millions. What are the main benefits of Flame Fix? Well, it's a total wood protection solution against fungal decay, insect attack, termites, mold, rot, and of course, fire. Flame Fix efficacy. In the bioassay testing of fungal decay and insect attack was all in accordance with the Australian test protocols, using local fungi species, brown and white rot, local termites, Mastotermes, Darwinesis. Many have probably heard of him. He's the big bugger. He's the one that exists up above the Tropic of Capricorn. A termite handler is needed. It's flown up to Darwin to capture several of these beasts, and then they are tested with Flame Fix. These tests can take 6 to 9 months. What was interesting and perhaps unexpected is that the flame retardant produced an increased efficacy compared with the wood preservative by itself. Flame Fix DFX active ingredients, propiconazole and tebuconazole, are commonly used in other treated wood products and also in fungicides in the agricultural industry. The Flame Fix DFX chemistry contains patented inorganic metal oxides. Flame Fix DFX is suitable for use in all outdoor above ground applications, including playgrounds and decks. Of major significance, Flame Fix has a low smoke generation. This is because the flame retardant is an inorganic metal oxide, which has no carbon or hydrocarbon present, hence no black smoke is produced. Flame Fix was burn tested in the States for a smoke developed index, SDI it's called, and achieved a 0 value, that is no smoke. Flame Fix products are backed by a 25-year durability performance warranty for protection against fungal decay and termites when installed in exterior above ground applications. Now, why do we use pine for flame fix? Firstly, it's a sustainable timber that is plantation grown with a short 28 to 30 year regenerative cycle. It is grown in abundance regionally in both Australia and New Zealand, supporting both local manufacture and processing. It has a high capacity to absorb wood preservatives and flame retardant chemicals. Flame fix can be used for a wide range of structural and non-structural applications. Flame fix current products include screening, we have decking products, and we have structural timbers. Identify flame fix with edge branding. This shows the flame fix logo, the hazard class H3, BAL 29, and in the case of the structural products, it also has the structural standards, which is AS NZS 1748, plus other details. Flame fix DFX, future products. Initially, we focused on solid wood, and now we are working to develop on finger jointed products and laminated boards. Also, we're looking to increase the hazard class from H3 to H4 for in-ground applications. Also, we are currently engaged in testing a range of flame fix products to BAL 40. Flame fix testing is underway in the USA with wildfires and forest fires. These require different testing regimes than those used in the Australian bushfire testing. Globally, flame fix is the only wood product that combines a wood preservative and a flame retardant that meets the bushfire BAL 29 rating. So that summarizes the key attributes and benefits and applications of flame fix. Now we'll hand over to the panel for some Q&A. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Are we handing over to Matthew? Dane, are you there? We got you online?
Yeah, we're here just to answer any questions that come through in regards to flame.
Yeah.
There are a couple of questions that have come through in the Q&A box. Can you see them?
Yep, we were just replying back to them. So
lovely. Okay. I'll leave it up to you to go through some of those questions then.
Further questions?
So Ron, Craig's asked a question where just asked if there are any bearer or joist products for decks that meet BAL 29.
Yeah, in terms of those particular products, yeah, there are like at the moment we do have those particular. They meet the BAL 29 for the joists and bearers. Yes, they do, and obviously we have the full range of joists and bearers from 45s to 90s, 140s, all the way to 290s. But the answer is yes, we do meet the BAL 29 for those. Does that answer the question?
Yep, I think so. Just having a look through the other questions. So one person's asked about BAL FZ.
Well, in terms of flame zone, the answer is no. You won't get a wood product will not achieve that in terms of being non-combustible.
And what about the safety of the flame retardant?
Now, in terms of the safety of the flame retardant, what we've done, and that's been quite paramount in terms of what we wanted to do. So what we used, and we talk about it there, we used an inorganic metal oxide. So the good thing about it is that It doesn't have any adverse effect in terms of residual ash and any emissions. So that was one of the key things that we wanted to do, was make sure that we had the environmental aspects covered. Also, one of the reasons in terms of that as well, and I mentioned in the presentation, that it has no carbon or hydrocarbons present. So we get no, in terms of smoke, we don't generate smoke.
Ron, I'm just wondering whether we've actually got a link for the video, because we lost audio to that video part.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'm wondering whether Matthew and Dane, if you're happy to keep answering some of those questions that are in the Q&A box, maybe we could get through and watch that video again. Are we able to do that, Sarah Jane?
Yep.
Yep, can send through the video.
Okay.
Yes, we are. So Ron, are you able to start that video now on your side?
Yep.
So while Ron's getting that going, there are quite a few questions coming in,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of interest in this product.
So perhaps what the best thing we might do then is I'll actually put a link in the chat feature for people to review the video at their own leisure. And Jenny, if you wouldn't mind reading out some of the questions for Ron to actually answer live, if that's okay.
All right. Okay, Ron, you can hear me okay?
Yes, yeah, so good.
So can the product be recycled is a question that's coming from Rodney Ardley.
Well, the product in terms of being recycled is the same as any other treated wood product, and it behaves in exactly the same way. As you dispose of a treated wood product, you do the same thing with this.
And does it have an FRL rating? That's an NCC issue. That's okay. That's different to the BAL rating. We might get some information back to Peter on that one. Is there a joist protector recommended to use with a BAL rated joist?
That might be for maybe Matt to answer that question.
Okay.
No, there's not a joist protector recommended with Flame Fix.
Okay. Michael Sandell has asked if there's some information about the safety of the flame retardant compound that's used for the product.
Yeah, once again, I sort of alluded to that before in terms of the safety. So what we use is an inorganic metal oxide. So it's a relatively inactive material. It's actually dug out of the ground. So it's actually something quite, it's a natural product, and it gets beneficiated. So it gets refined into something more, more usable. But in terms of a safety of product, it does have, we have no safety issues in terms of the product, in terms of its ash, in terms of its ash, or in terms of its emissions.
So there are no detrimental off-gassing issues with the product?
No.
And how much more expensive is it compared to standard timber?
Now that's a good question for Matt.
Matthew, are you able to provide any information about the costing of the product?
I just got Craig here. Craig will answer that for us.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It is more expensive than your standard treated pine, but in comparison to other timber products in the market that can be used in BAL 29 applications, such as spotted gum, blackbutt, Mirabelle, etc., those hardwoods that meet BAL 29, it is quite a bit cheaper.
So I'm wondering where designers can find information about the availability of the product and suppliers in each state. Have you got some contact details?
Again, if they go to our website, we will have stockists on there. It is only relatively new. We've had the decking and the screening for 3 or 4 months here in stock, and we've only just started receiving the 45mm structural, 90, 140, 190, 240 by 45, where people want to use that for joists, bearers, subfloors, pergolas, etc. We've only just started receiving that in the last month. So we're starting to build our stocks now. We don't know how big the market is, so we don't know, you know, how high to build the stocks yet. So it's going to be a bit of suck and see, if you understand, because this is very, very new.
Sure. So is it available now in each state?
Not in each state, but we have stock here in New South Wales, but other states will draw it as required. We've just supplied some to Western Australia this week. They actually got an order this week where several packs went over there, and there has been some just arrived in Melbourne. So it's available in Melbourne and in New South Wales, but other states will draw as required. You know, some of those other states, Queensland, there's not huge demand for bowel application. It's, you know, heavy New South Wales and Victoria and South Australia, but they will draw from Victoria for a start to see what they need to stock.
Okay, thank you. There's a couple of other questions that have come in. So RFS have previously not approved the use of fire retardants to provide fire resistance in timber. Has this product been assessed by the New South Wales RFS?
No, it has not. We've done all the testing through brands and we comply with the standard.
Okay. I might just, I'm going to just wrap up the formal part of the meeting now. James, are you able to just come back? There's a couple of questions that are still coming in from both presentations. So if you're able to stay online, I'll get you to just keep answering those questions. For now, I'm just going to wrap up the formal part of the meeting for those that have to leave. Thank you very much to our presenters, James Hardy and ITI. I hope you got something out of today's meeting. And thank you to those that contributed questions. So there will be a QR code coming up on your screen right now. The next meeting is on the 1st of September at 1 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you all again then. Keep an eye out for the email notice. Like I said, we'll just keep the meeting open for a couple more minutes just to keep answering some questions, but I'm going to just close up for now. Bye for now. We'll see you at the next meeting. Bye.